Guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Denise and I like to make videos about astrology and how it works in real life. If you're new here and that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I invite you to subscribe. I put out multiple videos every single week, so it might be fun for you. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Venus in Virgo. Venus in Virgo makes me think of the phrase, love is in the little things. Love is in the details. And it's the little things that matter. All of those things remind me of what Venus in Virgo is like. If that's what you came here to watch, then I invite you to stick around. So Venus is a nocturnal yin planet. And what that means is that the nocturnal planets can't really be understood intellectually. You more so have to feel them, kind of like with your heart, with your soul, with your gut. And Venus is the planet that kind of describes the things that you like that you can't really explain, the tastes that you have that you can't really logically tell me why it is that you like those particular things. It reminds me of that phrase when people say like, I like what I like. I don't know why, but I like what I like, okay? So Venus mainly represents three things. The first one is how we relate to others, how we socialize, and how we mingle with people once we get past the ascendant. The second thing it represents is the things that we value in ourselves and in others. And these could be qualities, characteristics, personality traits, and they could also be like material, physical things that we value, especially when you're talking about the earth signs. And lastly, Venus represents at least one aspect of what we bring to relationships and what we want out of relationships. But remember that your placements can be greatly modified by where they are located in the chart. So if your Venus is in the 12th house or in the 8th house, or if say you have one of the big planets that are next to your Venus, let's say Uranus or Neptune, then the interpretation of your particular Venus is going to be quite different than what you're going to hear in this video. Keep in mind that this is just a pure representation of Venus in Virgo. Secondly, relationships aren't all Venus. Remember that Venus is a planet of love and beauty, and even though it does represent some part of relationships, it is a little bit superficial because Venus, above anything else, wants to be liked, and in order to be liked, she can kind of bend herself a little bit in order to be more agreeable. And in order to have a love that is more real and more long-lasting than just the things that you see on the surface, you're going to want your love to have something deeper with deeper roots. So say Saturn or Jupiter. Those are the things that you also want to have in your relationship, not just Venus. So how does Venus and Virgo relate? So Venus and Virgo people can be a little bit shy, but they're very observant because they are ruled by Mercury. So Mercury makes them intellectually on at all times. So when they are relating to other people, they're going to be noticing everything about the other person. They're also careful. They don't just jump into conversations with other people. They are a little bit nervous. There's something nervous. There's nervous energy whenever you're talking about Mercury placement, and specifically about Mercury ruled signs. So like Gemini and Virgo, but Virgo in particular is more nervous than Gemini. They're also helpful. They want to provide something of value when they speak to you. So Virgo is not the type to just talk in order to talk. Virgo Venus is going to talk when they have something useful to say, something that is worth your time. They also really want to impress you with their intelligence. Mercury ruled signs, so Gemini and Virgo, they're witty and they want to impress you with the things that they know. So they might use that to like as a conversation starter. Venus and Virgo can also be pretty funny. They have a tendency, as I've already said, they notice all the things that are going on around them and they notice the smallest little things. And because of this and because their mind works so quickly, they can have a tendency to make jokes out of everything that's going on around them. They're pretty funny people. One of my favorite comedians has Venus and Virgo. Since Venus is our passive energy, it's kind of like the essence that we put out there into the world. I kind of like to call it like your scent, right? So this particular scent that you're putting out there is going to attract a particular kind of person. Your Venus is essentially like your brand of perfume that you're putting out there into the world. It's not the way that you aggressively and assertively go out and get things. That would be your Mars or your Sun. But Venus is more passive. It's just kind of there. It's like something that you sprayed on yourself and people could sniff it a mile away. So what is it that Venus in Virgo attracts? Because we notice people's Venus placements, we can have a tendency to kind of sniff these Venus and Virgo people out. And because of this, they might attract people who want help, who want somebody who's going to take care of the details for them, somebody who's going to organize their life, essentially. Like if you are a hot mess type of person and you see somebody who has their shit together, like Venus and Virgo appears to do, somebody who's always on time, somebody who's very diligent, detail oriented, and very task focused, then you're gonna see that you're a hot mess, and you're gonna see that Venus and Virgo, and you're gonna be attracted to them. That could be a thing. So always look back at the ruling planets and the ruling sign and the symbolism of the sign and the element in order to get a more complete picture of what the placement is going to look like. So Venus is in its fall in Virgo because it is in the sign opposite its exaltation. So Venus is exalted in Pisces, and because Virgo is opposite Pisces, and that means that it's in its fall. And what that means is that the planet has a hard time doing what it's supposed to do. And remember what we said that Venus is supposed to do. Venus is supposed to be agreeable. Venus is supposed to be our little chatty girl that we take with us to parties and makes us well-liked among the crowd, right? That's what Venus is supposed to do. But can you imagine Venus and Virgo like being just really agreeable and doing those things? Venus is supposed to be pleasing, accepting, yielding. Do you think those things easily describe Virgo? I really don't think so. Virgo is not concerned with yielding. Virgo is concerned with being correct. So think of Libra and think of Venus and how Venus is supposed to just be like, oh, okay, yeah, no, you're right, you're right. Virgo, you think Virgo is going to let somebody be right when they're wrong? Absolutely not. Virgo is going to be like, actually, according to my tabulations, like that is Virgo. Virgo is going to correct you when you're wrong. And they just have to because they know that you're wrong and they feel that they have to tell you. So that is not very Venus-y, Virgo. That's why they have trouble. Virgo is concerned with noticing every small detail and making judgments based on those details. And I don't mean judgment like in a bad way, like they're judging you, but they're going to assess whether something is correct, whether something is efficient, whether something is right. That is very important for Virgo. So what does Venus and Virgo value? First of all, they value intelligence. Being ruled by Mercury, they value people. They value their intelligence, but they also value the intelligence of others. They're always going to notice the way that you carry yourself intellectually. They're going to notice the way that you speak, the way that you spell. Oh, the Venus and Virgo people are the type to notice when you make typos, even if you're texting. Like they do not like the text speak. They do not like that. They notice people's mental capacity and they want somebody who's up to their standards because, you know, they value that within themselves and they want to have somebody who has like the horsepower, the intellectual horsepower to kind of hang with them. They also really value neatness because they focus so much on details. It's almost impossible for them to ignore like small mistakes. So Venus and Virgo values neatness and somebody who is really well put together. They associate this neatness with cleanliness. And think of Virgo as a surgeon because that is an imagery that really resonates with Virgo and really reminds me. Surgeons need pristine levels of cleanliness in order to do their job in an operating room. So think of Venus and Virgo as somebody who's going to value that level of diligence when they are looking for a mate or looking for somebody that they find attractive. Depending on the rest of the chart, they could be messy. They could be like messy hamsters, but they will nonetheless value somebody else who's orderly. If maybe a rising Virgo or a Virgo sun, if they see somebody being very orderly and very neat, very well put together, that's going to be something that attracts them. They also really value accuracy. Being right is really important to Virgo placements, period. And because they look for errors at all times, they're kind of like a little computer, Virgo placements. They're like computers, like spell checks. It's like they have a spell check going on at all times, but it's not just for spelling. It is for everything that you're saying, for your ideas, for your facts. They're fact checking you all the time. So make sure that whenever you're talking to a Virgo, you watch your words carefully. So Virgo is going to be looking for mistakes. And I have to give a Virgo disclaimer. I don't have any Virgo planets, but I have South Node in Virgo. And when people call me, ask me if I'm a Virgo, that is the greatest compliment I can receive because I just really appreciate Virgo energy and what it can do. So my Virgo disclaimer is keep in mind that Virgo is never trying to be a jerk. They're never trying to hurt your feelings. They're just trying to help. And it just irks them. Whenever there's a mistake, they can't ignore it. Or when something is just like messy or when something can just, if you just move it a little bit, it'll look better. Virgo is going to tell you because they pay attention to all those details, because that's what Mercury does. It is just assessing the environment. Because it is Mercury and Earth, they're going to be assessing the environment at all times. And because it's Venus, it's the way that they express themselves and they relate to others. So they're going to want to tell you like, hey, your concealer looks crusty and you need to fix it. Take it as them being helpful. Virgo's not trying to be rude. Sometimes things are just incorrect, and it would be kind of like a waste of their mental capacity if they didn't tell you, because they're thinking all those things, and if they just kept them up there, they wouldn't be helping you. So they think that it's much more helpful if they were to tell you like, hey, your breath is stinky, you need to brush your teeth. So another thing that they value is service. They like to be of service to others, and they also value this trait in other people. They also really value sacrifice and purity. And you have to think back to the symbolism of Virgo, and it's that virgin archetype. So Virgo, the virgin, really is associated, comes from the vestigial virgins who were supposed to keep the fire burning for Vesta. And they would essentially, the goddess Vesta, they would vow celibacy and they would go and dedicate their entire lives to just keeping the fire burning, because the Greeks, I believe, the Greeks, not the Romans, the Greeks believed that this fire had to be burning in order to maintain the health of the crop. So the virgins would dedicate themselves to being there at kind of like nuns, and they would just keep the fire burning all day long, nothing for themselves. They wouldn't have a family of their own. So this is the archetype that Virgo is coming from. So think of how somebody like that would be. They are very selfless, and they have to be working constantly, to keep that fire burning. That is what Virgo thinks that they're doing with the way that they work. They also really value practicality, because it's Mercury and Earth is tangible things, so money and things that keep you alive and safe. So they really value being practical with money. So they value that in themselves. They like to get their money's worth and get the best deals for things. They want everything to serve a purpose. They can be kind of minimalist in this sense, because they want everything that they have to serve a purpose, and preferably more than one purpose. And they are not the type of person to have like superfluous decorations in their home, because that's just inefficient. They like efficiency more than anything else. They also value other people who have this practical quality to them. Virgo also really values purity, because they have an almost ritualistic need for cleanliness. And it reminds me of this phrase, like the whole cleanliness is close to godliness. That is what reminds me of Virgo. And they value purity in this sense because they want to be clean. And again, this has to do with the vestigial virgins and the image of Virgo and the virgin. That is why Virgo values cleanliness and purity so much. What they bring and want in relationships. So what they bring is partnership. And the type of partnership that they bring is one of service. They want to do things for you. This is the type of partner that is going to want to help you have a better life. They're going to want to help you get your bills in order, get your credit score fixed, get your student loans under control. Everything that you have that has to do with your daily life, with your tasks, Virgo is going to want to come and simplify it for you and make it better. It's almost like they want to be your coach. So totally take them up on that offer. It feels really good to a Virgo person to get permission from somebody else to help, because they want to help you anyway. And when you're like reluctant and you kind of block them, it kind of hurts them, because that's what they want to do anyway. That's what they're going to try to do no matter what. So if you accept them into your life and you accept their coaching, accept them as kind of like they know more than you do, Let them take that role of like your coach, and they'll be really happy with that. They also bring adaptability. Venus and Virgo people really, because it is a mutable Earth and also Mercury has a dual nature to it, so they bring adaptability, and they can help you adapt to any situation. That's not saying that they're not going to be nervous. They're definitely going to be nervous about it, but they are able, because it is mutable, they're able to change the way that they do things. They also bring their willingness to work. They bring their willingness to work either like, in the home and put in work in your home, like, clean, cook, do the things that need to be done on the day-to-day, improve the home improvement, all of that. But not only that, they're willing to work on the relationship in order to make you happier, in order to make your bond stronger. Venus and Virgo is kind of like They're kind of like scientists too. They're not just surgeons, they're also scientists. They like to research and know the most correct information, the most up-to-date research that is out there on relationships and anything. So they're going to do all the research and then apply what they've learned to the relationship, kind of like it's like in a test tube or in a lab, and they're employing all the things that they've been reading. That is how Virgo is. So that is the kind of attention to detail that they're going to pay to the relationship. They bring a lot of attention. They're going to pay attention to you. Venus and Virgo people are the kind to know, your favorite cereal, your favorite toothpaste, your favorite everything, because they pay attention to everything that you do and they notice the earthly things. So they'll notice when your gas tank is running low and they might go, fill it out for you. Or they'll notice when certain things are coming up, your mom's birthday is coming up. Any little detail that needs to be remembered and noticed, Virgo is going to remember and notice it. And if they don't remember, they'll definitely write it down and remind you. So they really want to get to know you. And this could be a little bit like, could be reminiscent of Scorpio. You know how Scorpio really wants to know you at a deep soul level? Virgo wants to know you like on an earth level. They want to know what your routine is like, what the things that you like are like. All of the material things, because remember, it is Mercury and Earth. So imagine the intensity of a Scorpio wanting to know your soul. Well, it's the intensity of a Scorpio, but wanting to know who you are like on your day-to-day life. All the little details, they're going to know them about you. And because they notice everything, this is why they give the most practical and useful and thoughtful gifts, because they might not be like the most romantic things. They might not know your dreams, but they'll know the things that you like and that you use. So whenever something's running low, they might be the type of person to get it for you or to get you your favorite food or things like that, practical things. So Venus in Virgo is a little bit shy. This isn't one of those like ba boom Venus signs. They're not like, like hot tamale or anything like that. But the sexiness of Virgo is that they're so unassuming. And I definitely think that there's something sexy about that, because it's not like they're trying to show off anything. They're kind of like, this is what you get, what you see is what you get sort of thing. And they don't act like they're the shit, On the contrary, Venus and Virgo knows that they're flawed. They're probably anxious about it. And they are hardworking in how they put themselves together, noticing every small detail. They need appreciation more than anything. They're doing so much all the time. So make sure that you appreciate your Venus and Virgo people. And people sometimes ignore them because they're so quiet and they could be shy. So if you notice them, it would be really cool if you could tell them what it is that you notice about them and what you appreciate in all the things that they do. So yeah, this is Venus and Virgo, guys. So what did you guys think? Did I miss anything like super important for Venus and Virgo? I know I feel like I'm gonna get somebody by the name of Evan who's going to comment that Virgos are so critical. But I want to inspire people on this channel to learn the positive as well as the negative stereotypes associated with the signs. Because yes, Virgo can be a little bit critical. Like, they're not trying to be mean, they're trying to be helpful. And critical comes from having a really strong attention to detail. So that's where it's coming from. And I think that, if we learn where things come from, then we are more likely to appreciate them, or at the very least understand them. So what did you guys think of the video? Please let me know in the comments if I missed anything, or if you have any super Venus and Virgo stories or a Venus and Virgo song that you have for me. I could think of one. My friend shared it with me last night. What is it? It was, it's from The Cure. I'll remember later and I'll put it in the description. It's very Venus and Virgo to me. So if you like the video, don't forget to smash that like button for good luck, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.